everybody, welcome to 5 Question Friday. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia. Sretan Petak, happy Friday. And I am with Caroline Spivak. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
So, every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, I answer 5 questions from people who have sent them in on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, expatinCroatia.com, my consulting sessions, email, and people who write them in the sky. But today, I'm not going to answer questions from you guys. Instead, I'm going to ask questions of Caroline. And I'm so jazzed that she accepted our invitation. So for those of you who do not know, Caroline Spivak is the founder of the Croatian Women's Network. She's also the founding principal of Profile Communications, which is a full-service communications agency based in Toronto. And the reason she's here with me today is because she, through the Croatian Women Network, set up this Croatian Women of Influence Awards and Conference here in Zagreb this past week. That's why I've been here. So some of you may have seen the video that I put up on Monday where I told the story of how Caroline reached out to me last fall to let me know that I was nominated for Croatian Women of Influence Award, which was like, I was in shock when that happened. I didn't quite know what to make of it, and then a month later told me that I had won, and it was just, So that was this week, and I cannot wait to tell you all about my experience with the conference and the gala, but I'm going to save that for next Friday because today I want to focus on Caroline. So she organized 3 beautiful days of dinners and panels and speeches and a gala, and really just celebrated the winners and women in just such magnificent way. Like every detail, there was nothing like left to chance. It was really an incredible experience. I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it. So where do we start today? I've got 5 great questions for her, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, yeah. Okay, so you started the Croatian Women's Network in 2015. So the purpose of the Croatian Women's Network, from what I understand, is to find and connect Croatian women across the world. So not just in the homeland, but also abroad, so you can kind of bring them together. Yes. So when you started that, how did you get the word out? How did you get it off the ground?
Well, it's a little bit of a backwards story. In fact, I had this idea for the award first.
Oh.
And that was my first, manifestation. And I had this idea in my head. I had gone, I've been lucky to travel the world to go to other awards programs. I've been nominated for awards and won awards. And I thought, we don't have anything for Croatian women. We have lots of awards that seem to go to men. And there are lots of really extraordinary Croatian women around the world, and we don't celebrate that, and we don't highlight that. We don't have the opportunity or platform from which to do that. So I set out to create this award, Croatian Women of Influence Award, and I had this visual, the Glagolica Ž, which
Love that.
has lots of symbolism, in fact, because it really speaks to our history, our presence, and our future. But it is also, the letter J, it looks like a gift box in my mind.
It does.
I believe that women are a gift to society. And so that's where I sort of started with, and I thought, these are strong women. They're foundational. So in our history, women have defended our country, have preserved our culture, have raised our children, and kept the home hearth fires burning. So that's our past, and that's a strong foundation for our country and our future. And today we celebrate wonderful winners like yourself, accomplished Croatian women who have shown courage and perseverance. Again, there's that strength that translates through that time frame. And just as we stand on the shoulders of the women who came before us, younger generations will stand on our shoulders, and hopefully we'll lift them up even higher to make their path easier than ours was. And that's really the future of our country. And so it's our history in a really modern presentation, if you will.
For sure.
But then I thought, well, who the heck is going to want to give an award, and who am I to give an award to anyone? And I had this whole process in place, but I really didn't have a unifying platform, and that was my struggle. And then I thought, well, hey, I'm going to create the Croatian Women's Network because I want to connect, celebrate, and champion Croatian women the world over. And that's what we do. And we've been doing it for 6 years, and we have now, with your class of 23 winners of 2023, we have 143 Croatian Women of Influence Award winners the world over, drawn from more than 500 nominations that came in the world over. So congratulations, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm still trying to absorb all of it. It's quite a very big deal, especially to be in the company of truly Croatian women, people with Croatian blood. So it is, I'm trying to, I have to admit, a little bit of imposter syndrome, which I think is natural as a woman. You do tend to have it.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for women
Correct.
to have that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I know that I've had it a lot in my life, and I think in this moment, it's, I think that's why when I found out, I was like, really? I'm not Croatian, right?
Just what Sarah wrote to me.
Yeah, I did, and I wanted to be transparent about that. I mean, it's very common for people to assume that I am because of how I love Croatia and how I present Croatia. But I never want to give the impression that I'm trying to trick anybody.
And I don't think there's any chance of that. You are incredibly transparent through all of your channels of communication. I've been a fan and a follower for a long time, and I love that you've taken on this mission to be the translator of all of the administrative red tape and to calm people down and to give them a touch point where they can turn to get some guidance and direction. I know from my own experiences, it's not easy to gather information. You go to 3 people, you get 12 different versions of advice, and then you have no idea what to do next. And so it's wonderful to have this beacon of a foundation and a touch point to go to. And I particularly love the fact that you as a non-Croatian have taken this mission on. And it's your passion for Croatia that shines through in everything you do. And it's the fact that you've taken the time and you've built a business that's dedicated to digging up the facts and to clarifying the mysteries and to clarifying the misinformation and to being a wonderful welcome point for not only non-Croatians, but for us Croatians who are very demanding, frankly, and think we know our country, but we really don't. Or we're very good armchair quarterbacks, and we all know how it should be, but we're not so sure how it really is. And those are the reasons that you were selected, and that's why, and I have to tell you, I'm not telling any secrets out of the judges' deliberations, but when your nomination came forth, it was a very easy decision, and there really wasn't. It was like they all knew who you were, for starters, and so your brand awareness was huge, and it was simply, yes, let's move on. There's no deliberation here. So
That's
you
nice
should
to
be
hear.
proud of that. And really, those are the reasons why you were an easy yes from the judges panel for this year's awards, because it is about influence, and you have an extraordinary influence as an entrepreneur, as someone who really loves this country, and that shines through in everything you do, and for that we're really grateful.
Well, thank you. It's gonna make me cry. I really appreciate all of that. I'm trying to let it sink in.
It's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time, but that's my issue. That's somebody else's
And you're not
issue.
alone. I would say that virtually every winner has said the same thing. And the one thing to remember is, and that's what I love, is you're also humble and grateful, which makes me even happier that you were nominated and that you actually received the award, because that makes it intrinsically even more special to me. And what I want you to know, and I want all of the winners to know, is that you don't have to rise up to the award. You've already exceeded all possible milestones of success, and that's why you got the award.
Oh wow, that's a really beautiful way to characterize it. Oh, thank you so much. Can I give you a hug? Aw.
I'm all for the hugs.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger for sure. So, speaking of bureaucracy.
Yes.
So your full-time profession is PR
It is.
and crisis management.
Correct.
So when you put together the very first Croatian Women of Influence
Yes.
Awards in Croatia, how did you leverage those crisis management skills?
Oh boy, that's a very very prescient question. Looking back now, at the time I didn't realize it, but boy, those skills really were the thing that got me through. In the early days, and certainly the first year, in 2016 was when we first did our first awards, first they would say to me, International Women's Day, well, that's a communist holiday, we don't do that here. And I would say, no. It's an opportunity to talk about women and talk about great women, and let's change that perception. And this is something that happens in the world, and it should happen here. And the reason I do it in Croatia and in Zagreb every year, and we get asked often, why can't we do it somewhere else? The purpose of our mission is to connect, celebrate, and champion Croatian women the world over. And the one thing that has emerged that I'm really proud of is that, and it surprised me, is that we have women who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s who are coming to Croatia for the very first time to get their award. So they've never been here. But they love this place. They love Croatia. And they spend their lives supporting Croatia, Croatian democracy, Croatian history and culture and language. And they've never set foot on this land. And to do that is extraordinarily powerful. I'll never forget my first arrival to Croatia after democracy. There are no words to describe that moment. And so for them to come here to get their award is really special to me. And it's something that I really treasure and I take very seriously. So it's important for me that you have an extraordinary experience, that you feel valued, that you feel honored, and that you feel adored, because you all deserve that. And so it was a fight. It was a fight to get people to take it seriously, that this is really going to happen with or without them. Yeah. And then you would appreciate this, you come against the wall of the work ethic and the culture that's very different here. So I would be calling a judges meeting in October, and then I would immediately announce the winners at the beginning of December, and then I would start calling around for a venue, for a unique experience, for your welcome dinners, all these great things. And now I'm used to doing these a year ahead, and I need to sleep at night. Yeah. So that helps me sleep at night. And the response would be, well, when's your event? March 8th, International Women's Day in March. Oh, ima vremena. Kad vi dođete, onda ćemo sjesti na kavi, pa ćemo se mi dogovoriti. And I would break into hives, thinking, are you kidding me? I'm trying to convince these women to come from around the world to Croatia, and you want me to wait till February to decide whether or not you're going to support us and do what we need, print for us, or no, that's not going to work. So either you're a yes or I'm going to move on. And I'm sure that they all looked at me like, here's this crazy North American woman who's now going to force us to work, who doesn't want to sit and have coffee for 3 days and deliberate whether or not we're going to have a business arrangement. And I'll never forget, it was during our very first conference, one of our printers showed up at our venue, and all of a sudden the volunteer team was like, Caroline, there's this gentleman that's here to see you. And I was like, we're in the middle of the conference, I can't leave. I said, is everything all right? Is there an emergency? No, he's insisting on seeing you. And I said, I just can't leave, like ask him to just wait. So I thought, what on earth is going on? I come out, and he's very proudly brought us our media banner for the gala, which is great. I said, thank you, hvala vam puno, hvala, ali ja se sad žurim, moram se vratiti. No, ja te vodim na riblji ručak. I was like, you want to take me for fish lunch right now, today, at this moment, when I have a room of 50 women waiting for, like, the conference is happening. I said, this printing that you've done is for today, for right now. This is happening. And he thought I was going to take 3 hours and have a lovely afternoon lunch with him. I said, I would love to, but today's just not going to be that day. So this notion of there's time for everything and then scrambling, and I'd like to avoid the scrambling so that we can all be calm and collected. So it was an uphill battle, and I'm glad I persevered, because every year got a little bit easier. And now 4, 5, and now our 6th year in, there are so many events happening on International Women's Day here in Croatia.
Yes.
I mean, our former mayor of Zagreb, Milan Bandic, he would go to the Trg and give out tulips to women randomly on the street. He was our host in Balacha Dverce and gave flowers to all of our winners. One year he came to the gala dinner with a handful of roses and gave them out to all of our winners.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm heartened and I'm happy that there are more women's organizations now that are taking up the cause and championing the opportunity to talk about women's issues, but to celebrate women on this day. In Croatia, it's interesting now when I invite the diplomatic corps, it's always, well, we're going to be at this other event later or earlier, so when do you need us? Whereas before it was nothing else is happening, so it's interesting. And from that, our own influence is growing. So we're a founding organization of the newly launched Croatian Women's Alliance, which is an alliance of women's organizations. So that tells us the new numbers are growing,
Yes.
and now we can come together as an alliance to share events and to cross promote. If you're traveling to London or you're going to LA, we can put you in touch with somebody in the alliance or somebody in the network. Our network has always been global. That was always my goal. We're often referred to as coming from Toronto, but I say that was an administrative convenience. 10 minutes in my pajamas setting it up versus trying to, for 1 year, get information on how to set it up here as an international Udruga. And now this year as well, they launched on March 8th, is the Croativas, Red de Mujeres, this Latinas Americas. So our Latin American Croatian women are coming together as part of the network as well. So we're really proud of that. So I'm really excited to see the growth. And so today it's a lot easier. Today they're fighting to, when can we come? How can we support you? I mean, we can always use more support, of course, but it's interesting. Everybody now wants to be associated with the event.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I imagine there's a certain degree of like organic reach,
Yes.
I spoke with a few of the other winners who were not familiar with the Croatian Women's Network until they were nominated
That's
and
right.
then won this. And it was the same for me. So, we find out about it and then we go to an event and we're like, oh, this is pretty cool. And we go to the conference like, oh, this is like really cool. And, and the gala and the dinners and just seeing all the women who have, for example, 2 women that I made friends with, Kathy Gorn,
Oh, yes.
who runs National History Day.
Yes, she does, yeah.
And Elizabeth, who's the clinical
Elizabeth
neuropsychologist.
Cara, yes.
Yes, Elizabeth Cara. Was a winner from 2020.
Yes.
So I was with them on the first night, and they were coincidentally at the same table at the
Imagine
gala.
that.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was intentional, but I loved it. And then also Drina from Crowwear.
Yeah, from Canada, yeah.
Yeah, and to see what all these women are doing, it's just it's
It's
inspiring. It's like,
inspiring, yeah.
I want to be a part of this, like as much as I possibly can, So
That means we achieved our mission then.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, one really interesting thing about Croatians and the community and the culture is like I've never seen such a strong diaspora community. People,
Yes.
like you said, there are people, diaspora who never actually stepped foot in Croatia, and yet they are dedicated to Croatia. They love Croatia. They really like live, eat, and breathe. Like I've heard there's a Croatian phrase I've heard very often from people. It's like in the house we are Croatian, but outside the house we're Australian or Canadian or Peruvian. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that has made such an impression on me.
Okay.
It really has, because I speak to people from all over the world, and not all of them have Croatian heritage.
That's right.
A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. And I just have not seen such strong, intense diaspora like this, and it's really inspiring. It just says something about how about the Croatian culture, about how unique it is.
Yes.
To be able to have that. So the fact that you're able to bring all these women together for the greater good, and now it's inspired all of us to be a part of it, to tell other people about it. So there are not enough words how impressed I am with what you put together. It's I imagine it's like herding cats sometimes.
Yeah. But it's like anything else. I love to cook. So if you have great ingredients, you end up with a great product. So if you guys weren't so extraordinary, the event wouldn't be what it is, because that's what I'm here for. That's what the network is for, is to bring awareness to the extraordinary stories, the extraordinary accomplishments of all of us Croatian women, and nobody was telling those stories, and there was no place to tell those stories. And we now have a platform to do that, and that's important, because it's only when I would never have gotten to know you if it wasn't for the opportunity of the award. And that means that, as we say, u javnosti ne bi se znalo. They don't know about us until we tell them about us. And so we have to tell those stories. And that's how people will get to know them. And, you've now had the experience, and next time you will nominate someone that we've never heard about, but that deserves to have her story told. And that's what it's about. It's about sharing those stories, exchanging those experiences, and the number of connections and new projects and new ideas that have been sparked, even before the end of the gala, is always one of my favorite outcomes. And I get to hear all these things happening. It's very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, my guest from last week, Michael Freer, who works with a lot of Udrugas and social enterprises, that's his thing. During our interview, he was talking about this, it's either an Udruga or a social enterprise that's in Čakovec, and it's a group of women that are making clothes from recycled materials.
Yes.
And then when Drina, you announced it at the conference where you were talking about how Drina from Croware was looking for a manufacturer here in Croatia, I was like, light bulb.
Bingo.
So I sent them over to her today.
You're so kind.
So,
when I talked Drina into coming to the conference, I said, I'm going to put you on a panel. You're going to tell them what your mission is. She was coming to Croatia anyway, so I got her to come a little bit earlier to participate on that panel. What she's accomplished in 3 short years is incredible.
Yeah.
And what she's doing is high quality, and she wants, so this is another young woman who wants to make the connection with Croatia and support Croatian women and entrepreneurs and production houses. And see, you just made my promise come true. I said to her, I promise you, we know somebody knows somebody, we will find you what you're looking for. Yeah. And so thank you for helping us accomplish that.
I'm more than happy.
Exactly.
We're actually moving into some swag here soon.
Oh.
Yes, I'm really excited about it. I've hinted at it quite a bit on 5 questions. Yes. We're just not ready to shout it from the rooftops yet, but there's going to be t-shirts involved. It's for our new brand, and so I also want to talk to them as well. So I was really glad that he brought them to our attention. So yeah,
wonderful.
Meeting of the minds.
So this is what I would say when I would say Mreža Živi. This is exactly what we set out to do.
Yeah, you mentioned the diplomat course, diplomatic course. So at the conference, there's the Minister of Foreign Affairs was there. Also, one of the judges was from the Office for Croats Abroad. So I'm curious, I also read that you have been a Canadian representative for Croats in Canada. So you've worked with the government in some kind of capacity. So when you first started this, how did the government receive this when you wanted to get involvement from them?
So the State Office for Croats living outside of Croatia, I was, in the very first, in the inaugural council, and I brought the project to them to sort of have it as a litmus test to see, might this fly, would they support it? And at the time, Darija Krstičević was the inaugural president of the State Office, the State Secretary, if I may, and she was wholeheartedly supportive, and I have to really thank her deputy, Ivana Perkovac, who really understood immediately the value that this could have for women, for Croatian women, and she really championed it through. And they were behind us all the way, as well as Matica Iseljević, who they too instantly saw the value, and it wasn't a hard sell, and they got behind me right away, which was wonderful, and it made me, gave me that feeling of, okay, I am on the right track here, because I thought, gosh, am I making too much of this? Is anybody going to take this seriously? But I had this vision, and I could feel it, and see it, and touch it, and I just needed their support, because I knew I was going to do it here. And it's important for me and to invite the ambassadors of the countries from which the winners come from.
Oh.
So that's why we had the ambassador from Austria for Dalia Alic. We had the ambassador from Hungary for Mariana Balatinac. We had the Italian embassy as well for Francesca Sammartino. It's really important because it's another surprise that we can offer our winners.
That's a big
They didn't
deal.
know, and so they were really stunned when the ambassador of their country, where they reside, took the time to come in and to help confer the award to them or write a congratulatory letter for the gala book. And so it's important because, again, it's part of the story, because I really fundamentally believe that Croatian women have impact and influence in the countries where they reside. And not only that, they represent a vision of what future potential impact they can have on those countries. And I firmly believe that you, Croatian women of influence, are the greatest ambassadors that we can have for our country, Croatia. And you're the beauty and the richness and the stories of what's beautiful about Croatia. And that's the mission and challenge that we all carry as Croatian women. And so that's part of the story too. They need to know who's in their surrounding.
For sure, and you know what, that gives me a great setup for my next question.
Okay.
So you've got 143 winners so far
Correct.
since you started.
Yes.
Is there a particular award winner over that time
Yes.
that you felt like left a lasting impression on you?
Gosh. Ooh, that's a big question, Sarah.
I love big
I love
questions.
those. Yeah, you like to stump the gas. A singular woman. I would be hard pressed to come up with one, because I'm privileged to hear and advance the stories of 143 extraordinary Croatian women. And I really mean that. Each story is special and distinct in its own way. Each story inspires me to be courageous and to think bigger and to find inspiration and gumption to believe that I can do something more or different, or that I can connect. I'd love to be able to connect, like you just explained about Trina. And there have been so many of those moments in so many of those instances. And then I feel like, yes, Mareja Živi, yes, the mission is happening. This is why I do this. There's some hard times, and so you got to know your why, right? And you have to be able to feed that. And really, I'm so in awe of all of you. And so I'm inspired by everybody. And then I think, wow, look at what she's doing. Look at what she's accomplished. In addition to, and unatoč svih poteškoća. So it's not easy for you guys, I know this. And so it's so meaningful to have the privilege to have insight into your lives, into your obstacles, but moreover, how you've overcome them, to, as I always say, find the societal need and the gaps, and then not only find them and complain about them, but our winners, uniquely, a common characteristic of all of you is that you saw the problem, but you went to go and fix it.
Right.
And you have succeeded in fixing it, and in doing so, you have influenced on a greater plane than you probably ever could have imagined when you started out.
Yeah, I know. I'm still trying to imagine it. So, of all these things that you have done, building the Croatian Women's Network, you know, being part of the founding of this alliance in Latin America, and also this Croatian Women's Alliance across the world with these professional organizations, and also you have a podcast, which I'll be recording with her after this.
That's right.
And the awards, all these different moving pieces. What does the future hold? Do you want to add more projects, more things under that umbrella, or do you want to kind of refine and enrich what you already have?
I would say both, really. I am excited about the interest in the network. It grows every year. People get more excited. They want to connect. I see us really advancing into some other things, other platforms where you can connect amongst yourselves in a more direct way. I always want us to primarily be that platform where you can find each other, where you can work together, tell us what you need, we'll make it happen. You'll see on our events page more announcements about things that are happening, that maybe not necessarily that we're sponsoring or creating, but that you want others to know that are happening in your world. Your Women's Month, for example. I would love to have that up on our pages. So again, it's about supporting initiatives of women. You'll see some appeals, for example. We have Victoria Martin out of Vukovar. She runs an organization called Latirici, and they provide respite to parents of children who are severely compromised, whether they have cerebral palsy and they can't be left alone. And some of these women and these mothers and fathers, they maybe have to go and undergo cancer treatment themselves. They have no one to leave their child with. That's an incredible stress that they don't need. And she reached out to me just before I was coming to Croatia to say, we are short on our operating budget this year, and we've never considered asking the diaspora for help. And I said to her, rest easy, help is on its way. I asked her, how much are we talking about here? And she said to me, maybe 20,000 euro. And I thought, we can do this. That's 30,000 American dollars. So I'm putting out an appeal. We're going to put out an appeal so that they can operate. That's just operating funds.
Yeah.
And if 30,000 of us give $100, we're there. Or if 30, if we can get $1,000 from 30 people, we're there. It's not a big obstacle.
No.
And so I want us to be a hub for those kinds of appeals, because we're here to support each other. And that's what I said to Victoria. She was so grateful. I said, but Victoria, we're here to help. We're here to support each other.
Exactly.
That's Kada Mreža Živi, right? That's the life of the network. That's us standing shoulder to shoulder with all of us, no matter what the hardship. We have to resolve these issues, and it's in our power to do so. So you'll see more of that. And hopefully, maybe some more different kinds of conferences or seminars. It's really up to the members. Whatever you like and you think we should do and will be helpful for you, that's what we're here to provide.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Cool. I have one last very hard-hitting question.
Oh dear, okay.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, in Croatia, it's pistachio gelato. I cannot get enough of that when I'm here in the summer.
That's an excellent choice.
I'm quite happy with that.
All right, I said that.
How about yourself?
Well, my favorite ice cream has to come from my favorite ice cream place
Naturally.
in Split, which is Emiliana Romana, which now everyone knows about. So during summer, there's like a line of like 40 people. It drives me crazy. But my absolute favorite from them is they have this Greek yogurt and amarena cherry. They don't do it all that often. They're sorting silverware now, so sorry about that, guys. But it's so good. They don't have it all the time. In lieu of that, they have a chocolate with Malden sea salt on top.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Oh, it'll rock your world.
So I have to tell you, if you're in Trogir,
Yeah.
go to the sea shore. So just down from the sea organ, and the Pozdrav Sunca is a wonderful gelato shop called Spivak. They make all of their own gelato, and it's stracciatella. It changes your life. And even people in Trogir don't know about it. And now you all know about it, but please
Secrets
make
out,
some
guys.
room for me when I line up.
Yeah.
They make everything in-house. It's delicious. No calories. It doesn't count. No guilt. Just go and enjoy.
All right.
And
Quite
support a
testament.
female entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here.
It's
This
my
was
great
such a
pleasure.
treat. Thank you guys for being here. I love this time I have with you every Friday. So that's it for this week. Thank you to Caroline. Thank you to you. Have a wonderful weekend. Vidimo se. Ciao. Bye.